Oh, hey, yeah, I'm just doing a video on stop motion movies. I call it Stop Motion Spectacular. Basically, creature features done by Ray Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien and some other people. So, yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to do for Jurassic June. I know they don't all feature dinosaurs, but it doesn't have to be a dinosaur-centric kind of video. I mean, come on. It's Jurassic June. It's not like the 4th of July or Patriots Day or some shit like that. I don't see why you're getting so fucking ruffled. Hell, you're not even a dinosaur. You're just a genetic freak. Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of what I am going to call Stop Motion Spectacular, where I look at some of my favourite stop motion movies, and today I'm looking at the 1968 classic Valley of Gwangi, directed by James O'Connelly. It sees cowboys taking on dinosaurs, and they end up having to battle the titular Gwangi, an Allosaurus with a big appetite and a bad attitude. Now, this is probably one of Ray Harryhausen's best work. And ironically, it's his last dinosaur-themed stop-motion animation. After this, he mainly focused on fantasy movies with the likes of Clash of the Titans and The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. But his palitter of dinosaurs and prehistoric monsters are still amazing. This is probably one of his best works today. We see not only Gwangi the Allosaurus, but also a Striachosaurus, a pterodactyl, and a little prehistoric horse called an Eohippus. Now, I grew up in a farm. My dad has horses, and I can tell you, looking at modern media such as video games and kind of digital animated movies, horses are very hard to animate. But for some reason, in 1968, Ray Harryhausen done a fantastic job animating the Eohippus. It is spectacular. Its movements and nature is that of a horse, which is kind of ironic because in an earlier scene he has to animate a contemporary horse, and I don't know, maybe it isn't Harryhausen doing the main animation for this, but it doesn't hold up as well as the Eohippus. Other creatures to feature in the movie included a Striachosaurus, a Gallimimus, and a pterodactyl. The pterodactyl, while looking cool, the practical effect that sees one of the characters having to rustle it is kind of rather inaccurate, as the creature, the pterodactyl, has more bat-like wings, where a pterodactyl's fingers are closer to the top. The bat's wings are kind of, its fingers are spread out, which is not a feature of a pterodactyl. But again, this is 1968. And that said, there is some interesting aspects about Gwangi that are kind of ahead of its time. For example, a lot of people know nowadays that theropod dinosaurs share a lot of similarities to birds, and you can see this in Gwangi. Now, maybe it was luck of the draw, or maybe it was hindsight, but Ray Harryhausen does a fantastic job animating Gwangi with bird-like movements. Its head bobs, it picks at its face, and it moves these kind of quick darting-like movements, very much like a hawk or an eagle, which is fantastic. He didn't just make a big lumbering monster, he made a creature that moved with a very organic purpose to it. Some of the standout scenes for the movie, I think, is the battle between Gwangi and the Striachosaurus. Gwangi attacking a Gallimimus, which I will get into. There's an interesting aspect about that. And there is also the scene, the penultimate scene in the movie, that sees Gwangi on a rampage through Mexico City, which ends in his fiery destruction in a cathedral. And one can't but feel sorry. Much like Willis O'Brien's King Kong, Gwangi is a creature who is brought into civilized society. He's angry, he's scared, and he's basically kind of brought into a modern city and goes on a rampage. So you can't feel hatred for him. He's lashing out. He's a beast who's being kind of pushed to this, and you do genuinely feel sorry for the creature at the end of the movie. It's kind of a very sad and shocking ending. But to me, I think Valley of Gwangi resonates. It's a story of man fucking around with nature, very much like King Kong, and how we try and kind of capture nature for a profit, and it's sad at the end. You do feel bad for the monster, but not only that, Valley of Gwangi has had an influence on contemporary media, mainly Jurassic Park. For example, the scene I was saying earlier on where Gwangi attacks the Gallimimus was a major influence in that classic scene in Jurassic Park where the T-Rex breaks forth from the brush and just runs down the Gallimimus. A lot of the visual effects artists watched Valley Gwangi in preparation for this. I think Phil Tippett made them watch it. Another aspect of Jurassic Park that was influenced by this was IDW's comic Jurassic Park Redemption, which sees Robert Burke and Alan Grant lasso an Allosaurus on horseback. So while it is silly, it is cool that it had an influence on that. And lastly, a posthumous book released by Michael Crichton, Dragon's Teeth, features what is called the Bone Wars, cowboys trying to basically stop people from rustling or stealing archaeological or paleontological items from dig sites. While it's not living dinosaurs, it is interesting to see that the kind of cowboy dinosaur element was an influence on Michael Crichton in 1974 when he released the book. So yeah, this is essentially a very important movie, and if you're a fan of dinosaurs, I highly recommend you check it out. It's had an influence not only on Jurassic Park but on other forms of media, and is Ray Harryhausen's one of his best works. There's a lot to say that Ray Harryhausen done fantastic work on, but this is definitely one of his best works. I think if you are a Ray Harryhausen fan, it is a crime not to own this movie, and check it out. My next movie I will probably be watching will be The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, or Sinbad, The Eye of the Tiger. I'm not sure, but one or the other. If I do review a Sinbad movie, it won't be the one with Sinbad from Jingle All the Way, so don't worry about that. So, aww, this has been a Trash Picture Show, and you've been watching my stop motion spectacular. Have a good one. Take care. Bye now.